This is a Flying Cow production.
Book 1, Water. Book 2, Earth. Book 3, Fire. Long ago, Nickelodeon introduced a series called Avatar: The Last Airbender. It combined great anime-style animation, strong storytelling, heart, and humor. It was great, and everyone that saw it loved it. Until one day, a terrible movie came out which everyone hated. But my co-host Loren Collins knows none of this because he's never seen the show. And that's why we are watching every episode of Avatar: The Last Airbender, because I believe this could be Loren's new favorite show. Or at least top 20. Well, hello and welcome back to Comets and Cabbages, our Avatar: The Last Airbender review podcast here on the Flying Cow. I, of course, am the Flying Cow himself, Clay Johnson, and Secret Tunnel!
Well, my name's Amanda Van Heil, and I've got destination fever. Just want to get there.
I'm Loren Collins, and I got some little bit of flashbacks, some like my Carlsbad Cavern type days of Boy Scouts.
Okay. All right. Yes, but we are here today, of course, as I said, Comets and Cabbages, talking about Avatar: The Last Airbender. We are in only the second episode of season 2. But before we jump in, there were a couple of things that I was realizing the other day that in previous episodes I had gotten wrong. So I want to really quickly address those. First of all, I think I said like very early on that the firebender like character mold that they used in the opening sequence was Avatar Roku. That is incorrect because the avatar that they use in the Avatar sequence is Avatar Roku. The firebender is Azula. And it's pretty obvious now that you've seen Azula. They look pretty different.
Wait, so I hadn't picked up on this. So Azula has been in
Sure.
the opening title sequence of this show from the very beginning.
I mean, yeah, she's that silhouette, so you can't see her face, but her character model has that has been the firebender model the entire time.
So even though we really only saw her face like in 2 episodes in season 1, she was technically in every episode.
Yes, exactly.
Wow.
Azula is technically in every episode. Of course, with that logic, so is Avatar Roku. Avatar Fire Stick, as we like to call him.
Yes.
The other thing that I will say that I noticed, I will say I might have gotten some other things wrong, but these are just the two that I'm like, oh, you know what? This is something I messed up, and it's a little annoying. But I kept making the point all throughout season 1 that in I think like the 3rd episode, they showed us a map and it looked like they had jumped all over the place. And I was like, how are they not already at the Northern Water Tribe?
Mm-hmm.
Well, a little bit towards the end of the season, I looked at that map again, and I'm going to pull it up real quick. If you pay attention here, these little islands are just right off of the southern. This is not the entire world. This is just the southern part. It's because this whole map, I assumed that it was the whole world. No, that is just the southern part that they're starting. So they just went to a whole bunch of islands.
Right. So we're not looking at like a Mercator projection of the Avatar world with like the South Pole at the bottom and the North Pole at the top of this map. We're looking at like the Avatar version, like one of those old Rand McNally book maps, and this is just like one page of it. They're going to have to flip over to
exactly. We're looking at the stuff like right near the Southern Water Tribe.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, so they did not traverse the entire
No.
the entire world.
Still not being
Um,
terribly efficient in their travel, but
No, it's true. It's true. But yeah, so they
I
could
suppose
not
we
have made it to the Northern Water Tribe as quickly as I thought. It did. The time actually made a little bit more sense.
should say for anyone listening to the audio version, it's just a back and forth right left zigzag instead of just
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's just zigzagging back and forth. Yeah, there is definitely a lot of back and forth on that map. It's just not covering the amount of ground that I thought it was.
No.
Oh, but yeah. Yeah, so some fun little corrections there to start us off. But I do want to go ahead and just mention that today we are talking about the second episode of Book 2, Earth, which is entitled The Cave of Two Lovers. This was written by Loren McMullen. Directed by Loren McMullen, written by Joshua Hamilton, and it originally debuted March 24th, 2006. Now, I will say we have already kind of started playing a couple of different games with both of you. And I think that this episode kind of works for both of them. So I think we are first, Amanda, you and I are going to play a little game called Love or Hate. Did Loren love this episode, or did he hate it? Obviously, there is some room for some nuance in between, but do we think that he was closer to, because we have seen that the humorous episodes can be a little bit more polarizing for Loren. He either loves them or he hates them. And so I'm wondering, what do you think? Because this is definitely one of the more humorous episodes. Not a lot gets achieved as far as story, which is something to take into account because sometimes that can annoy Loren quite a bit. But I do think that it does do some interesting things for some characters, or at least alludes to some possibilities. So where do you stand, Amanda? How do you think Loren found this episode?
Knowing that Loren does musical theater, I'm going to say he loves it because of the musical aspect.
Okay. All right. Well, like I said, he's been a little back and forth on this. The last one that I thought he was going to hate, he absolutely loved. But I also think that these are easy hit or misses for him. So because you said he's going to love it, I'm going to go with my initial belief and say I think he hates it. So, Loren, how did you feel about this episode? Were you closer to loving it or hating it?
Amanda's right. I do love musical theater.
Okay. True.
I didn't love the songs in this though. They felt kind of haphazard. And I think that was the point of them, to be honest, is they were kind of like loose and breezy and sort of made up in the moment. So like that really,
I mean, okay. I will say I think that was intentional.
I think it was absolutely intentional. But at least the music itself did not sell itself to me. That was not what made it in an episode I loved. Despite that, I did kind of love it. It was a fun episode. So Amanda is nonetheless still right, if not entirely for the right reason.
Sure. All right. So Loren was closer to loving this episode than hating it. That's a good place to start.
Yep.
So now, Loren, it's time for you and I to play a little game. Was this Amanda's favorite episode? We know that it's coming up.
Yep.
We know that it's rather early on in season 2. This is only the second episode, so it would be rather early, but who knows? This might be the one to grab her. And Amanda, I'm just gonna say you let me answer this time.
I'm gonna let you answer, don't worry.
So, Loren, what do you think? Was this Amanda's favorite episode or not?
All right. So, Clay, you and I are both going to be coming at this from different knowledge levels because you have a sense of what the other episodes coming up are and whether those might appeal to Amanda. I have seen this episode and the previous, and we know the last one was not. So, but watching this one, you know, the last one I was pretty confident was not Amanda's favorite episode. This one, I could see that it could be. So I'm gonna roll the dice on. Yeah, I'm willing to gamble this week that this is Amanda's favorite episode.
Okay, all right. So I will say that when Amanda said that her favorite episode was coming up, there were only a couple in this first block that I was like, it could be this, it could be this. And there was another one that I was like, maybe. This was the first one that I was like, this might be it. So I am going to go with Loren, and I am also going to say, I think that this is Amanda's favorite episode.
Am I allowed to answer now?
You are.
Okay, you're both right. Because Secret Tunnel.
Yes. I was about to say, when Loren was like, I didn't really like the music in this, I'm like, I think it's the best part of the episode.
That's what makes it good. Yeah. I love the hippies.
I mean, honestly, the only reason I didn't do the whole line at the beginning is because I thought that you might want to finish it.
Oh, no.
Because I so just wanted to be secret tunnel, secret tunnel, through the mountain, secret tunnel. I have literally, like a little bit after watching this for the first time, went on a vacation to Hawaii. And while we were there, we went like tubing or something, and we literally went through like a circular cave tunnel thing. And the entire way through, I just kept singing Secret Tunnel.
I would do the same. I would do the exact same.
To be clear, by the way, I did enjoy the songs in the context of the episode, but just not enough to sing them outside of the episode.
Oh, I can't tell you how many times I've just randomly gone into Secret Tunnel.
Don't have them on a playlist anywhere.
I don't know if they're on anything.
They are. They are.
Are
and
they?
There's so many covers of Secret Tunnel also.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah, there's a bunch of covers of Secret Tunnel, and then you can find it on the Spotifys and the YouTubes, and they even have like a version of it where it's just secret, 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 and it just goes on and on and on, and it just shows soccer the whole time, just like.
One year at Normal
Content, yeah,
like in the karaoke room, I was helping to work that, and I don't remember anyone asking to sing Secret Tunnel. I didn't know the show though. I might not recognize it, but I'm certain it's probably in, you could pull it up. You could sing it somewhere in between all the Steven Universe songs that people wanted to sing in that room.
Sure.
Over and over.
There you go.
It's.
Yeah.
I mean, I will say I'm curious, Amanda. Like on those things where you've found the song, do they have more of it, or is it literally just that chorus?
It's literally just there's the full song that they put together.
Okay.
I know, like the Nickelodeon.
Because in the show, he does like a verse, and then he's like, and I can't remember the rest of it, but the chorus goes.
Says that part even in the recordings that I've seen, and they even have like a sing-along version on the Nickelodeon page where it's like follow the bouncing ball.
Sure. Yeah. All right, but yeah, I mean. Of course we were going to talk about the songs. It's like the highlight of the episode. But let us go ahead and let's kind of jump into this episode, because like I said, this episode is interesting because it doesn't really further any story beats. It actually kind of like pauses a little bit because, you know, in the first episode, we got the establishment of Azula. Azula is not in this episode. Going after, she is mentioned.
Well, she's in the opening.
I'm sorry. Yeah, exactly. She is in the opening title sequence, as we've established. She is in all of those. But you know, aside from a brief mention in Zuko and Iroh's storyline, she makes no appearance in the episode. So you know, like I said, it feels like we are kind of putting the story a little bit on hold, and also this story is kind of what the last story was supposed to be, their journey to Omashu.
Yep.
But you know, so we're taking a little bit more time to get there. We're taking kind of a pause, but like I said, we are also, number one, we're having a lot of fun, and we're kind of, you know, exploring some things in the Aang and the gang storyline. We're kind of exploring a little bit of the feelings that Aang has for Katara, and you know, we're not really getting into how Katara may or may not feel about Aang, but we're kind of, you know, getting closer to that. Like, I don't think that this episode says anything definitively one way or another about Katara's feelings, but we're definitely cementing Aang's feelings here. And then in the Zuko storyline, you know, it starts off kind of silly. And then, you know, as they get taken in by, you know, Earth Kingdom refugees, you know, it starts to turn a little bit more like, you know, he starts to see that he has something in common with these people, which starts some conflict. And then by the end, he steals their ostrich horse.
I was very disappointed in him for stealing the ostrich horse.
Yeah.
I was disappointed in Iroh for going along with it.
I was also disappointed in Iroh there. They both did
Yeah,
bad
I mean,
things.
I think that in some ways, Iroh doesn't push back on his nephew at times because he knows that he's on a journey and he doesn't want to try to force anything. But at the same time, don't steal those people's ostrich horse. They don't have much to begin with.
And they might have bonded with that ostrich horse. Like, that might be their best friend.
The only thing I can hope is that, you know, when they got wherever they were going, they put a note on it and sent it back home or something. But yeah, I'm just
when that girl they met when she was a little girl, you know, she asked her parents for an ostrich pony. And like every Christmas, she wanted an ostrich pony, and then finally her dad gave her the ostrich pony, and then he died in the war, and like that's her closest. It grew up into an ostrich horse, and that's the connection she had to it. And now
they stole it.
Yeah,
yeah. So I mean, while, you know, on the surface this is a very silly, fun episode, I think there are layers. Here. So let's just kind of dive just a little bit deeper in here. So at the beginning here, we see that Aang and Katara are doing some training. And I will say we've seen them do training before, but this time all three of them are now submerged in the water. And I will say I noticed this in the last episode, but I didn't point it out. But it's definitely becoming a trend here by this second episode. We're seeing a lot more skin.
It's practically naked.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I mean, yeah, Sokka's just got like a loincloth.
Oh, Sokka, I thought you said Appa is naked. I was gonna say Appa is always naked.
Well, yes, Appa, yeah. But Sokka is basically wearing a loincloth. Aang is, you know, wearing, you know, whatever trunks or whatever, and you know, Katara is wearing, you know, a modest you know, bathing suit.
It's like, what are those weird little bands around her legs? Like, I get that they're helpful for, like, if you're protecting her legs and stuff when she's doing water bending and all that. But like, I'm trying to figure out the point of them. Like,
it's just Katara's style. She's all into, you know, arm bands and leg bands. Basically, she is the prototype to the Ultimate Warrior. She just needed to add some tassels in there, and then, you know,
looked like a mummy. It looked like she had mummy legs.
Yeah, I mean, I will say that type of wrapping though is typical of like the Water Tribe, because Sokka has the same thing that he does a lot.
Mhm.
So yeah, I think that's.
I think I'm just sitting here
Water
trying to
Tribe.
figure out how the physics of all that works, like how she managed to put them on.
But yeah, while they are you know, training, they meet a group of wandering musicians that I have just called the hippies. We have Chong Lily, and he's not named in this section, even though his name is repeated several times throughout, even though he's never properly introduced. But Moku. But yeah, we have the three of them, and there's a couple of others that we really only see dancing here and there, occasionally. That are also
with their introductory scene appeared to have 3 of them, and then suddenly later there were just more. Like,
yeah, all of a sudden there's more. Yeah.
By that for a minute, yeah.
Well, I mean, in the next time we see them, it looks like we have gone back to wherever the rest of their party was, because they're in a different location, and they're all just like, you know, hanging out and chilling on Appa, which I'm like, you know, oh, that's never a bad idea, just lounging around on Appa. You know, and Appa's got like his braids, and yes,
it was so cute. Appa's like, I got it made right now.
What's funny is in that scene, everybody with hair now has braids.
Yep.
I'm sure Aang would have had been braided. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if we look closely and saw that his eyebrows were braided. Aang with those braided brows.
By the way, Moku is voiced by Derek Basco. Yes, Dante's brother.
Oh, okay. That's good to know. I didn't think about that. And another interesting thing to point out, Chong, the lead kind of musician guy, is voiced by D. Bradley Baker.
So Appa,
who is also, yes, he's Appa and Momo. Yep. And also, I did not know this until I just looked at it. Lily is voiced by Lorraine Newman, who is part of the original cast of SNL. So yeah,
that is the same Lorraine Newman. Okay,
yeah. Just a random to throw her in there.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you know, we quickly understand that these musicians are just kind of, you know, they're here for the journey, man. They're just enjoying life and wandering around and doing what they can. I'm sure they enjoy some herbs from time to time.
Yeah, I'd be careful with any cookies they baked.
Yes. Unless it's, you know, lounge on Appa time, then, you know,
That's
give
true.
me all the
on Appa time, then you can have all the cookies you want.
There you go. But yeah, they have a very laid back attitude, and we immediately are kind of met with the fact that the one person that's not really into their whole situation is Sokka. And I will say, I think that part of that might come from some interesting interactions that they have early on. You know, like I said, they're having just regular conversations, but the very first thing that Chong, his name is Chong, right?
Yes.
I wouldn't be surprised if they wanted to get actually Chong.
That's what I was thinking also.
For this, and he wasn't available.
Wasn't he in jail at that point?
Tommy Chong?
I thought he got arrested, like,
in 2006.
No, he was on that 70s show at the time, so I guess no. I want to say he got
I mean,
arrested
there
for
was
plot
a
at
point
one
in time when he wasn't on it because he did get arrested.
Yeah, so that might have been
I don't
around
know.
the same
Maybe
time.
2006 is either that or he just wasn't available. But yeah, one of the first things that he says to Sokka is this. Hold on. Is this
Nice underwear.
which is a really weird way to say hello. That honestly might be why Sokka is not interested in being friendly with these people.
Then tells him he's got a case of destination fever.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's later on. I will say, Sokka then in the next scene makes reference to something that we have been talking a lot about.
Look, I hate to be the wet blanket here, but since Katara is busy, I guess it's up to me.
Yeah. Usually, apparently, that's Katara's job. I mean, we've talked about it. Usually, she's the one making the impassioned speeches and things right now. But right now, Kataraing means something completely different. Apparently, it means lounging on Appa and getting your hair braided.
You know, maybe Sokka should have gotten his hair braided.
Yeah, that might have helped. It might have helped him mellow out. Maybe his forehead wouldn't have been as red by the end of the episode. But yeah, so it is also in that scene when they're talking about how they need to get to Omashu. There's of course some very funny scenes where they're like, we need to get to Omashu because we need to do this thing, and he's just like, oh, sounds like you need to go to Omashu. There's just some fun humor going on here. But that is also where we get this iconic scene.
Built a path to be together. Yeah, I forget the next couple lines, but then it goes, secret tunnel, through the mountains, secret tunnel, yeah.
Okay.
This is like the dance. Just the...
Oh, I was about to say, I had to play the video because we could have just played the audio and then we could have sung along and that would have been fun and fine. But I had to play the video because of the dancers. Amanda, you pointed out the guy that's basically just doing the backstroke.
Yeah.
But have you ever noticed the other woman?
Mhm.
Because she's basically like, she's got her arms out and it's kind of hard for me to show because they keep going out. But she got her arms out with her elbows bent. And she just keeps going up and down with the rest of her body. She's just like that's her dance. And then at the end, she puts her arms out and just goes. I'm just like, what the hell? What the hell is that?
I like how Moku's just laying on his back playing the drum, just like
Yeah. These guys are all about least resistance, man.
These guys have got it made. I need to be more like them.
Jeez. Oh, yeah. But like I said, the song is telling them about, the cave of two lovers, about the legend. I will say there's a funny line there where they're like, is it real or is it a legend? Oh, it's a real legend.
Yes.
But that there is supposed to be a secret cave that has a passage of tunnels that leads to Omashu. So
I think it's in here that has like possibly my favorite comic beat of the entire episode, which is when they're debating on whether or not to like do the secret tunnel or just like go the other way, and just like we're not gonna do the tunnel. We're gonna go the way we planned to, and then we just smash cut to like them like a gauntlet of Fire Nation soldiers, and then smash cut back to fine, whatever.
Well, because their whole thing is that Appa, and I think we've established this before, but Appa does not like to be underground.
Yeah,
I mean, he's a creature of the sky, so it makes sense. It doesn't like to be in an enclosed
especially after
space.
100 years underwater in an iceberg.
Yeah.
I wouldn't like it
Yeah,
either.
probably not his fit. He's probably a little claustrophobic.
Yeah.
I get it. But yeah, so Aang is just like, we're gonna do whatever makes Appa comfortable. And then as you say, we see, the big all the Fire Nation stuff coming at them. I will say though, the problem with doing that first is that now the Fire Nation is after them because they know that they're there. So when they go into the cave, the Fire Nation immediately is right there behind them. And rather than going into the cave themselves, which they've heard, the song, and they've heard the legend that they
It's like the
might get
idea
lost
that the
and-
Fire
and
Nation
die.
all knows the secret tunnel song.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Because he's like, have you not heard the song? Secret tunnel, secret. We all sing it around the campfire, man. Come on. But he's like, we're not going in there. Let's just, close the entrance so that they've got so that they're going to be trapped in there. So that's exactly what they do. Obviously, Appa is not happy with this. He starts freaking out a little bit. But this is where they are. They're a little stuck. And they run into some other things while they're in the cave. They run into the wolf bats. That might actually be a better picture. There we go. Which honestly, if they were any bigger, I think would be even more intimidating. But like just the look of them is, I'm like, that's a well-designed creature.
We haven't seen wolf bats before, right?
I don't think so. I think this is the first time we've run into.
We saw something else that was matched up with a wolf. Someone was like a big something. Someone was riding at some point was matched up with a wolf, but
there was the sheer shoe looked kind of wolf-ish.
Yeah,
because it was like obviously a mole and
like a mole
some
and an
kind of
eater and a wolf all combined.
okay,
something like that. But yeah,
but no, the
wolf
wolf
or
bats are
fox
indeed a
or
good
something
design.
like that. Huh?
Yeah, wolf bats are a good design. They're appropriately scary.
So they run into that, and eventually, Appa causes more destruction within the cave, and the two groups get separated. So we've got Sokka with the folk singers, great pairing, and then we have Aang and Katara and Appa stuck together as well. And I will say, I don't think that he does much, but I'm assuming that Momo must be with Sokka.
I think he is. Because at the end, like and Momo and like Appa,
Momo and Appa have a conversation.
They compare stories.
Which was great. Yes, exactly.
Right after they're separated on either side of that wall, like there's a brief shot of Momo with Sokka. So
okay. Because I mean, other than that, Momo doesn't really come into play in that side of the story. I mean, I will say that once they split off, we don't get a whole lot from Sokka in that group until they meet the Badger Moles.
Yeah.
It's more just, seeing more of the idiocy of the folk singers. And, various things like, each torch lasts 2 hours. So if we light all of them, that's 10 hours. All at the same time. That's not how math works, you dummy.
Yeah.
But let's sing love songs, because part of the legend is that love is supposed to guide you out. And eventually that group just meets a couple of badger moles, and they are able to use them to get out. But with Aang and Katara, they actually stumble upon, I guess, the center of the maze is what I would assume.
Appa bangs through it.
Yeah, because Appa is done with this place. He is like, let me
want
out
outta
of
here.
here. And when they see this giant sealed thing, they assume that it must be the exit. It is not, though. It is actually the tomb of the two lovers. And this is where we get the actual story of the two lovers. And I will say this is a really cool animated sequence with some
Yes.
Asian art. And it's just a really cool, low animated sequence
Looks a
with
lot like
just
Okami.
these like watercolor paintings. Yeah, it's really cool. But it is basically the story of these two lovers, which we actually discover is the story of the creation of Omashu, because the idea was that these two lovers were from two warring tribes, and they were secretly meeting, and they became the first earthbenders because they met the badger moles who taught them earthbending. And so they would meet inside in this cave so that they could get together. And then he died and she got mad and did some earthbending, and then everybody was like, cool, we'll be friends now. And I think her name was Oma and his name was Shu.
Her name was Oma and it was Shu, so then it's put together Omashu. So
Omashu.
they created the
Right.
first shipping name.
Yeah, absolutely. That is they were the name of the new kingdom became their shipping name. Absolutely. I just hope we never run into Benifer Part 1 or 2 out there, tiny little villages.
But yeah, the what you were saying about the sort of traditional Asian art that was done to tell this story, that was honestly the highlight of the episode for me. Was them employing that sort of, it wasn't even really animated for the most part. It was really just sort of still art to depict this storyline.
Yeah, I mean, there were some moments where like one meshed into like another, but it was like two stills that just went together and looked a bit like movement. But yeah, mostly it was just stills kind of put together with like I said, very lowly animated.
Yeah, and I could easily imagine some other show just doing this as a standard animated flashback, but it was such better, a better choice to do it the way they did.
Yeah, no, it was really cool. It was a lot of fun. And I will say it is at this point that Katara introduces, and let's note this was Katara's idea, not Aang's.
Yep.
But she mentions that there was the story of the two lovers, and then there's the story of you should let love lead. And Katara pitches, well, maybe we should kiss. And of course, Aang loves this idea, but he doesn't want Katara to know that he loves this idea. So he sticks all of his entire leg in his mouth.
Yeah.
Not just his foot, his entire leg, and is just like, not that I want to kiss you, or, just is like, oh, but I'd rather kiss you than die. And
that's a compliment.
Yeah, yes, that's a compliment. It's like, Aang, buddy, you're overcorrecting here, buddy. Overcorrecting.
Yeah.
Didn't need to go that. She's the one that suggested it. It's okay. You can just be like, well, all right. If you want, we can do that.
We can try it if you think it'll work.
Can be a little coy. That's okay. You don't.
I'm open to all sorts of ideas right now. Whatever it takes to get us out.
And y'all were being down on the idea earlier of whether or not this set had much to say about like Katara's feeling for Aang, but I think this kind of does. One, she brings it up.
I think
after she brings it up, then he feels really legitimately hurt, like by his reaction to it.
Well, I mean, I think that also is just the fact that he's like, oh no, because he overcorrects so much, it is insulting, whether she feels that way or not. The way that he puts it is insulting. He just, like I said, he overcorrects. But what I was saying is that I don't think that it is definitive.
It's not definitive
of the way that she feels. Like I said, we're kind of creeping up on, could she? Maybe she does. Maybe it was just an innocent suggestion, but it kind of plants those possible seeds.
Exactly. It's just foreshadowing. It's not actually
right.
Katara doesn't even know at this point. He might just be trying to put it together. Like, do I just like hanging out with him or
right? Yeah, exactly. I think that we don't get a definitive answer because Katara herself doesn't have a definitive answer. But it is there enough that she's willing to open the door for this idea.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But yeah, she can't be certain, as I might have mentioned before. It's like she has not been around a whole lot of other boys her age who were not her brother. So like,
it's true. It's, I mean, and the few that she has, have been murderous. Yeah. So, maybe not. I mean, she hangs out a lot with, or she doesn't hang out, but she is around Zuko quite a bit. But yeah, don't think that anything's gonna happen there. Yeah,
we all know how things ended with Jet.
Yeah, exactly. Water in the face. But yeah, so she leaves this open. It doesn't go well in this first bit, but as we revisit this, we start to see that the torches are going out. And we mentioned this before we got on mic. Apparently there is a debate because as their torches start to go out, right before the caves light up, Aang and Katara start leaning in for a kiss. Apparently there is a debate as to whether or not they actually did kiss. Personally, I don't think that they did. I think that they started to lean in. The lights went out. The cave lights up. I think that interrupted what they were doing, and they didn't actually kiss. But apparently, at least Amanda and maybe even Loren feel differently.
I mean, Aang seemed very happy when they got out of that cave.
Well, I think
let love lead the way, and he's just like,
but because they started to lean in even after he stuck his, like I said, the entire left side of his body in his mouth. I think that was enough. I don't think that they actually needed to have kissed for Aang to feel that, because the way started to open back up to that, even if it didn't actually happen. Loren, how do you feel?
I can see an argument either way, but in my head, they kissed.
Okay.
I think the lights went out and they both leaned in and they missed because it was too dark to see. So like, they made contact, but just not on the lips. No, I wrote down. I liked the kiss ambiguity.
They each got an ear.
Yeah.
I think, or maybe they hit noses. Okay. Maybe like one nose hit here and the other one hit here, and they both went ow. And then
Zara's taller than Egg, so she just like got his nose. She's like her lips touched his nose. Yeah.
I just want to point out, Amanda, each one of them only has one nose. So if one of them hit here, the other one couldn't have hit on the nose.
Hit here, and her nose hit on him. Like, so his nose hit Katara here, and then Katara's
so then her nose would have had to hit also on the other side of his nose. Couldn't have also hit his nose if his nose was already on her.
Well, no, I'm meaning like his nose hit her and her nose hit him, but not like on the nose, like on the cheekbone where it's hard and it hurts.
Okay.
So first, I liked the directorial choice to have it be ambiguous in the moment.
Sure.
I liked the choice to leave that open to interpretation, which then left me a little surprised that when the lights came back on, the way Aang then spoke to her, in my opinion, bolstered the interpretation that they had kissed, because he then wanted to like follow up on what had happened. which it feels to me more consistent than with they leaned in but they didn't.
See, I think that he wanted to go back because they didn't.
Because they didn't kiss.
Because they were this close and he
Yeah.
didn't get it.
So, I kind of wish they had left off that, like, the comment he made. I wish they'd retained it being more ambiguous. But no, my interpretation was they did.
Okay. All right. Well, I mean, apparently then it is pretty ambiguous because there's room for disagreement.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah, I mean, and you know, like I said, eventually the crystals lead them out.
Mhm.
And they come out. We've already mentioned that you know, Sokka and the crew came out with you know,
The badger moles.
badger moles.
That
Which
love
I will
music.
say, badger moles. Any guess as to, because badgers are, you know, about medium-sized creatures. Moles are pretty small. Why the hell are badger moles gigantic?
Mutations.
I feel like we've seen that at least once before. Like those canyon crawlers were half bug and they were gigantic.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah.
Gamma radiation.
Yes. The entire Avatar world is just
Full of gamma
slaughtered
rays.
radiation.
Yeah. Absolutely.
It's all from that
Um,
last visit.
Yeah, and then I mean we've kind of already hit all of you know, Zuko and Iroh's storyline. I will say basically that storyline is just, you know, Iroh sees a flower that he thinks is either tea or poison. He drinks it, it's poison. So they go to a doctor. He looks pretty bad. And they meet a very nice girl and her mother, eat their food, and then steal their ostrich horse.
Yep.
But
You know,
like I said,
you know, on one hand, I'm just like, I'm very disappointed, but that could have been like their friend, but maybe that ostrich horse was an asshole, and they're like, because she sees them taking the ostrich horse, and she doesn't stop.
and she doesn't say, but she does seem rather sad.
Yeah.
She seems sad,
Because yeah,
but I'm gonna
I
hope
think-
that
I
maybe
think
the
the
ostrich horse
reason
was
that
an asshole, and
saying
she's like,
it
oh,
is
I've been
just
wanting to know,
because-
this is driving me crazy.
I
Or maybe
mean,
it was old and looked like about to die anyways.
mean, it looked pretty healthy.
Okay, well,
it
maybe it was just an asshole.
I was more on the side of she didn't say anything because number one, she didn't really think that she could stop them.
Yeah.
And it was just like, oh, okay, that's where they want to leave it. That sucks.
Yeah.
But
They were
you
going
know,
to eat
not
that
much
ostrich
I can
horse.
do about it.
And no, now they can't.
Well, then in that case, Iroh and Zuko saved the ostrich horse.
Exactly. I will say, like, y'all were focusing earlier on like Iroh being complicit and okay with stealing
Right.
the ostrich horse. I honestly thought Iroh was a bit off from the beginning of this episode. With the
He's a
entire
little
flower.
sillier in this episode than typical, but at the
Not-
same
but just
time,
sillier. Well, not just silly is my point, but like just off in general, because the whole like, is this tea or is this poison? And then he
Right.
ate it anyway. This doesn't feel like the Iroh of season 1 to me, honestly. That seems like the kind of reckless mistake he would like slap someone up the head for doing.
yeah, it doesn't seem, but at the same time, it's tea.
Yeah.
That is Iroh's
That's
Achilles
his
heel.
weakness.
And also, we have to leave room for Iroh being a rounded character. Is he usually making these silly decisions? No. But do smart people sometimes make dumb decisions? Yeah.
Yeah.
They do.
Oh, sure.
You know, he's usually the wise one, but that doesn't mean he's beyond making a mistake for something that he's really passionate about, which
In this
we
case,
know he loves his tea.
Oh, I know,
Yeah.
and you know, not to harp on it too much, but just like if it had been his dilemma there had been like, oh, this is either the most delicious tea or it's like it's going to give me a terrible rash, then yeah, I can see Iroh doing that. But just
But
like,
no, deadly.
it will kill me, and we don't have any medicine for it. No, like that's too far. I don't see
Yeah.
Iroh doing that. Now,
Yeah.
would he keep it and hold it for later? Then by all means, but
Right.
just like no, he wouldn't risk his own life just
Right.
for that.
Well,
right.
and I will say this is the episode that Amanda was thinking about last time. This is where the debate happens
Yes.
of should we turn ourselves into the Earth Kingdom where everyone hates us, or turn ourselves into the Fire Nation where we'll be handed over to Azula.
Yeah.
Earth Kingdom.
Earth King it is. Yeah. This is the rare, possibly first occasion I've been watching an episode. It's like, I know this line. I really know this line from somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah. I wonder where. But yeah, so you know, that really is the storyline. The last beat in the episode, they come up upon Omashu, and we see that Omashu is now being occupied by the Fire Nation. Dun dun dun. What
Great
will
cliffhanger.
happen?
I literally still in cliffhanger. Like that was good, solid.
Yeah. I mean, it's a good, build up to the next episode, but that doesn't make this a two-parter.
No.
It's just a build up to the next episode. I will say there are some episodes coming up that for some reason Paramount Plus put together because they have this type of lead up cliffhanger. And I'm like, it's not the same story, guys. Not the same story. Okay.
It's not a two-parter, like you said. It's just serialization. Yeah. And this is like one of the first I think we've seen the show experiment with that kind of like explicit serialization from episode to episode.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
That's not common in like a children's half-hour cartoon show to leave on a cliffhanger to come back the next week.
No, yeah, I mean, we are starting to see a bit more story and serialization going on.
Well, that's the anime influence, because that's common in anime. Like even, I mean, it would even be on Cartoon Network. Like next time on Dragon Ball Z.
Right. That's true. Anime is nothing but cliffhangers. It's just like every episode is a cliff.
I mean, let's be honest. A lot of them are basically animated soap operas.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, absolutely. It's why I watch Pokemon.
That's why my grandmother's a big Disney fan. That's right.
Oh yeah.
No, I'm just.
She loves that Piccolo.
Yes, exactly.
All right. So, are there any other things that we wanted to specifically mention as part of this episode?
I think how with the hippies and Sokka, they were keeping Sokka safe the whole time by playing their annoying music, because as soon as they stopped, that's when the Badger Moles came out.
Well, yeah, I mean, I didn't mention that is how they were able to use the Badger Moles, because the Badger Moles liked the music. And we actually even got a scene of Sokka playing the song.
Badger Moles coming towards me.
Yeah. But yeah, and I didn't mention, but there's a bit at the end where Sokka's forehead's all red, and Katara's like, "Why is your forehead all red?" And then the guy is like, "Don't anybody say anything, but I think that bald kid might be the Avatar." And Sokka just smacks his forehead. He's just like, "These guys are idiots.
Also,
why did I have to get stranded with them?"
Also, a great
kind of learned something today.
Like, really haven't set up for that. Like we hadn't really seen Sokka, I think, slap his forehead or like create that.
We had seen it
a couple of times.
We've done it, okay, but we hadn't created. Yeah, but either way,
we hadn't seen the mark on the forehead till that point. Yes. Yeah.
Then even better, we'd seen the action, but not the payoff for it. So.
Yes. Yeah.
Again,
there had been.
I do like though, like when they ask them if they're going to Omashu, and they just go, "Nope."
Yeah. Oh yeah. That was great. That was
just throughout a lot of good comic execution in this episode.
Yeah.
Agreed. All right. Well, if there's nothing else, then let us go ahead and get right into our segments, beginning with our My Cabbages moment. My cabbages! Which is, of course, the part of the episode where we discuss our favorite or most interesting scene of the episode. So, Amanda, we're going to start with you first. What was your My Cabbages moment?
Okay, so it's really hard just to pick one because there are a whole lot of really good ones. But one that always sticks out that cracks me up every single time is when it's after they've been separated and Chong is singing the song "Don't Let the Caving Get You Down" to Sokka. And when he just comes up to him, like, "Don't let the falling rocks turn your smile into a frown." And then just the look on Sokka's face is just like,
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, I will say, as interesting as I think it would have been for Tommy Chong to play this character, I don't know if the songs would have been as fun.
Yeah.
Because I don't know
agree.
if Chong's really a singer. I mean, I don't know. Maybe there's
I
some
don't know if
Cheech
he
and Chong movie where he did like some silly songs, but it doesn't really seem like his kind of thing.
Yeah.
And yeah, definitely would have missed that.
He could have been
All
like a regular hippie, but not like Chong.
Right. Yeah. Loren?
Like I said earlier, I think my favorite comic beat might have been that that bit in Act 1 where they take Appa and then fly what appears to be a very panicked Appa flew a brigade of Fire Nation soldiers.
Yeah.
But no, I'm gonna give my
cut.
exactly. One of the first times possibly we've seen Appa that upset and like panicked.
I mean, well, and also in the cave. I mean, by the time they come out,
true.
He is obviously relieved.
He's relieved.
Like, yeah, thoroughly relieved.
Yes.
This is
Also,
unfortunate
that writing that they
panic
make, like,
episode.
we'll do what makes Appa comfortable, and then we get a shot of Appa looking very, very like the most uncomfortable we've ever seen him. But no, my Cabbages moment is going to go to the aforementioned story of Oma and Shu, the two lovers, and that traditional animation style they went with that, the art style more so than the animation. I just thought that was lovely in its execution.
Agreed. Well, honestly, guys, for me, it can't be anything but secret tunnel, secret tunnel through the mountain, secret tunnel. It's just one of the best parts of this entire show. It is one of the few things from this show that I quote often. So yeah, it's got to be the secret tunnel song. But yes, so now it is time for the Mako Award, which is the award that we give to our favorite or most interesting character. So Loren, you're going to start us off this time. Who gets your Mako Award?
First off, I want to give some attention, a little bit of love to Zuko for the, again, the character building we're seeing it here in this episode from him as he for the first time kind of encounters like the victims of the Fire Nation.
Right.
Where, the girl they meet, and I don't remember her name, but she not only lost her father, but he sees how like she as an innocent has been injured.
Yeah.
In the course of this.
Yeah, the shock on his face. Yeah.
That she's scarred in a not dissimilar way to he is.
Her name is Song.
Okay. But no, it's the first glimpse he's had of what the Fire Nation War has looked like from the other side. And I'm sure this is going to play a factor going forward. Nonetheless, I gave Zuko my award last week when honestly I probably should have given it to Azula because her prominence there. So instead, I'm going to give my award this week to Sokka, because Sokka, we once again saw my favorite version of Sokka, which is level-headed, rational planner Sokka. Like he's the one in there with a map trying to figure out like, stop dealing with your silliness over there. Like I know what we need to do to just get down to brass tacks to get through this problem. And trying to be a leader in this situation. And I always appreciate when I see Sokka do that kind of person, kind of like he was we saw some of that back in Fortune Teller, which I liked so much. Once again, because I like that side of him, Sokka gets my award from Mako.
So you like Sokka as the straight man?
I like Sokka. Weird. Here's the thing. Yes, I guess so, because he's frustrated by them. He's still funny.
Yes. But he is the one. He is the foil
You're
to
right.
their more
That's
silly
important.
energy.
I like Sokka more when he's playing the straight man in the comic bits rather than him playing the comic relief.
Well, because
Right
his
about it.
comedy is pretty corny.
Yeah.
So unless you just really like that type of humor,
Yeah.
that's more just going to be a groan.
Yeah.
I will say, as a side note, the woman who provided the voice of Song, Kim, my guest, also is going to be in a later episode in this season.
Oh,
about halfway through. So yeah, well, a little more than halfway, but yeah.
Since you mentioned that, I think I mentioned earlier Derek Bosco, Dante's brother,
Yes.
who voices Moku. He also shows up. What is it? I think he shows up as one of the Ember Island players.
Yeah, he plays. I think he's
Yeah.
actor version of Zuko.
Yeah, he plays the actor version of his own brother. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. But yeah, okay, so Amanda, Mako Award.
Mako Award? Oh, Chong.
Okay. I will say I am also I'm just gonna give it to that whole group.
The hippies.
I mean, Chong's definitely the leader, but they're just such
I do
fun.
like
Yeah, just the weird dancing and the fact that Lily is randomly played by Lorraine Newman and Moku, who's never introduced, but his name is said several times. And then of course, hey, are you guys gonna go to a Masho with us? Nope. Okay. Just that and then the songs, it's just they're so much fun, just such fun characters. So yeah, I'm gonna give it to the folk singers. All right, so now it is time to rate this episode on the Avatar State Meter. We could give it a grade of anywhere from 1 to 5, 5 being the best, the show at full power, 1 being the worst, could deal the show a fatal blow. With that being said, Amanda, what do you give this episode?
5 out of 5. Greatest Avatar State possibility. Yeah.
All right.
Full power.
Full power for Amanda. I mean,
that
you said it was your favorite, so I'm not surprised.
I assume he gets that 5 because you're convinced they kissed.
Sure, we'll go with that.
All right, Loren.
I'm gonna give it a 4. It was solid. I was entertained. It was a definite step up from last week. I thought. But yeah, just not in my top tier. I don't think. But
Sure.
Fun and enjoyable. And once again has me looking forward to seeing more.
All right. I will say overall, I'm gonna go right in between you two. I'm gonna say 4.5. I will say if I was just judging based on the comedic episodes, there's only one that I think is maybe slightly better than this, but I would still probably give this like a 4.5 or even a 5. Yeah, I mean, it's just a solid episode. Like I said, it's just so much fun, but at the same time, we're getting some character development on Zuko's side. We're getting some fun with Aang and the gang, plus also some kind of hints at could Aang Tara be a thing? Is this a real thing, or is this just a crush? What's the thing going on there? And it's not like in a kind of really overly sappy, annoying way. So yeah, I think that this is a good, fun episode. 4.5 for me. All right.
Before I forget, one thing that showed up in this episode that I thought was going to show up last week, and then it was here. Zuko's fuzz. His head fuzz was here this episode.
Yes. Well, he's got full on. I mean, it's not like long, but he does have. I mean, I guess it's hard to show like just like a buzz, but it looks like he's got like a full cover.
That's what I mean. Like
Yeah.
exactly. Like it's all growing in now, but it's just
Yeah.
all like buzz cut short. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
That's what I thought was going to be underneath that hat last week when the hat came off. So yeah.
Right. Yeah. I will say there is one other thing that I wanted to mention when they're introducing themselves to Song, and Zuko just offers that that his name is Lee and that his uncle's name is Mushi, which
Yes.
Iroh apparently is not a fan of. Apparently Mushi, not a good name.
No.
I need to look up and see if that's significant somehow, or if it was just funny.
I imagine it's got to mean something silly.
Yeah.
But Iroh gives him like the stink face for saying that his name is Mushi. But yeah, with that being said, I think it is time now to let people know how to get in contact with us. You can contact me at the Flying Cow Pod on Twitter and Instagram. You can also email at theflyingcowpod@gmail.com. You can also excuse me, you can make sure to keep up with all of the shows that we're doing. Check out the patreon.com/theflyingcow. Lots of stuff to check out. Laura and Amanda, let us know what you got going on.
All right. Well, first off, you can find me on. Well, actually, beforehand, I just looked up what mushi means. It's Japanese for bug. So,
okay,
basically,
all right.
Yeah,
he just doesn't want to be a bug.
Yeah, because there's an anime called Mushishi.
Oh, okay.
And in that one, like Mushi is like the most basic life form. So. Sure. Bug still. But you can find me on Zelda Universe TV on the YouTubes. You can find me on socials at Amanda Van Heil. You can find me on Twitch at Panda Princessa. And you can find me hosting the Shine Sparkers podcast.
Yep. And you can find me on Twitter at Loren Collins. If like I said, if you're around the Atlanta area, want to come see a play, a comedy play, like if you enjoyed comedy here today, for the Cave of the Two Lovers, I'm in Lend Me a Tenor in Sandy Springs in March.
All right. So yes, make sure to check those things out if you can. We will be back next time with the third episode, Return to Omashu. But until that time, moo.
Mm.